Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Work at Home Rockstar Podcast. Very excited for today's guest. She's a podcaster and an Instagram coach. And what she does is she helps entrepreneurs build an online presence through creative copy and content in a way that is simple so they can feel more in control of their time. Very excited to be rocking out today with Allison Scholes. Allison, are you ready to rock?
I am ready to rock. Thanks, Tim.
Awesome. So let's start off on a good note. Tell me a story of success in your business or your life that we can be inspired by.
Well, I was once an entrepreneur, a dreamer that definitely started the hard way, right? Without a lot of inspiration myself from other entrepreneurs. But you know what? I really got inspiration from one of my favorite Marvel characters. I'm probably going to nerd out on you a little bit, Tim, but good. Because I am a huge Marvel fan. I love movies. I am just known to just watch movies all the time. I really don't watch regular television. I'm all about movies. And my favorite all-time villain is Loki. And everyone knows how much I love Loki. He's known to be like the trickster. He manipulates people and he is known to transform into other people. And what I realized, because I was feeling so stuck in my business in the online space, like, how can I stand out? How can I attract more people to my business? How can I work with more people? How can I collaborate with other entrepreneurs? And what I realized is I took the love of movies and I thought, how can I incorporate this into my brand? And it was just kind of like one of those aha moments when we were watching probably one of the Marvel movies with Loki, is I went, oh my goodness, Loki is awesome in the movies. Like, we can love Loki in the movies, but we cannot show up like Loki in our business or in the online space. And that is when it clicked for me. I was like, okay, I cannot try to manipulate people into following me. I cannot try to transform my brand to look like someone else, or I cannot try to mimic someone else's strategy and make it work for me. So once I got that in my head, like, okay, I'm just going to show up as my most authentic self and share my love for Loki and just kind of put that message out there. That's when things really started to shift for me in the online space, where people are like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. And, now I'm just helping people really get that clarity and really understand what it really means to be authentic in their brand and in their business. So I hope you like that story about Loki, because I'm a little obsessed with it.
I love analogies. so that's really, really cool. And I also love Loki too, because especially the latest series that they just came out with. I can't wait for the next season, because
I know, right? That little teaser at the end. You're like, yes.
So fascinating stuff. But I love what you're saying. And you're right. Like, I mean, if you do all that manipulative stuff, sure, you might get some people to follow you short term, but eventually you're going to end up getting caught. Right.
Exactly.
And then it's harder to build trust once you've lost it than it is to build in the first place. Right.
Right. Exactly. And I think we all kind of start what I call in that stage of inspiration. In the beginning, you're not really sure what to do. So it is totally okay to look at other entrepreneurs or influencers and learn the strategies or take the course or download the freebies. Like, that's totally normal. And that is the path you should go. But I always say, when you get stuck in that state of inspiration and you're just stuck and you're not moving and you're just collecting all the freebies, like, check your inbox. How many freebies do you have in there? Have you even opened them? Have you even tried to apply one thing from it? That's telling you something, that you're stuck in that state of inspiration. And you need to take a hard look at your business, your brand. What's your intentions? What's your goals? You need to start doing some action. Start implementing something. And when you implement it, I'm just going to tell you, it's going to be really messy in the beginning. It's going to stink. My first website was horrible. My first course didn't sell. My first download was probably the most ugly thing in the world. And here I am talking about getting into the online space. You just have to start somewhere and you're going to learn from it. And I'm sure you feel the same way, Tim.
Yeah, I think the term I've heard for that is messy action.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wins.
It's true. Yeah.
all the time. Like, I mean, I think that some of us sort of fall in this trap of like trying to be perfectionists and try to get it exactly what you need it to be in order for it to get out the door. But I mean, number one, it's probably never getting out the door because it'll never be
Right.
perfect. But
Right.
also you learn what your product is or your service is as you're implementing it. Right. And
Yes.
things change. So I mean, you can't know that if you have no feedback. If you're just sitting
Yes.
in an office going like, oh, they're gonna love this part. Oh, they're gonna love this part. You know, it's almost like doing like a stand-up routine. You have no idea what they're gonna laugh at.
Exactly. And I think too that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with this concept of like authenticity or creating authentic content. Well, you can't create authentic content until you're actually doing the thing and putting it out there. So I like to define authentic content. All it is, it's taking what you've learned, what you know, and you infuse it with your personality and your life experiences. That is your authentic content. So you can't create it without actually putting it out there into the world and having people experience it and have you experience it and put your own, brand stamp or your brand voice or your personality into it. It's not creating something that is just like absolutely brand new, because guess what? Everything's been created. It's just putting your spin on it. And that is what I think is really authentic content and being authentic to your brand.
Agree. Now, okay. So now as we're taking this messy action, lots of mistakes are gonna happen. I call them bad notes, right? And I mean, I try to normalize it as much as possible because I mean we all go through those mistakes and we learn from them. And I mean, I consider actually the more mistakes you make, probably the further along in your business you are. But like, can you share with us like maybe something just really big that just didn't go your way that was deflating, and how you kind of recovered from that, or how we can even avoid it if we're heading down that path?
Yeah, so I think all entrepreneurs experience imposter syndrome and comparisonitis, and we are just inundated with content galore. So when we look at all this stuff in a business and even being in the online space, you struggle with, how do I approach it? How do I implement this? So I always like to go back to what I call the 3 C's. And I normally teach it as like the 3 C's to Instagram growth, but you can really just expand it and be like, you can call it the 3 C's to your business growth. And the first C to that is clarity. You have got to go back to your own brand clarity. If you don't have clarity on your brand and who you are and what you stand for and who your ideal audience is and what your brand message is going to be, you're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to know how to put it out there into the world. You're not going to know how to speak to your audience. You're not going to know how to write to your audience. You're not even going to know what kind of brand visuals you want to put out there if you don't get clarity on all of that. So that's really like the first step, is if you're feeling stuck, or if you feel like you're just on that hamster wheel of you're not going anywhere, go back to your clarity. Dig deep into your brand and write out what your intentions are. Who is your ideal audience? What is your why? What is your purpose? What is your overall brand message? What is your brand voice? And then you can really define your brand visuals, which is going to really be your brand identity, like how your brand is represented out there. That is really like the first step, because you want to become recognizable and memorable out there. So you have to have clarity on your brand. The second piece to that is your content pillars. Because I don't know about you, Tim, but I work with a lot of entrepreneurs who are multi-passionate people, very creative, very multi-passionate.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And I think that's really neat way to be. But then there's also this feeling that we just have to put everything out there into the world, because I do this and I do that and I do this and I do that. And when we do that in our business and online, we will actually confuse our audience. And when we confuse our audience, they don't know what to expect from us. So when they don't know what to expect from us, then they're not going to know what to come to us for. And then they're just going to eventually leave and go on to the next person. So with content pillars, it's a really great idea to sit back and go, okay, let me look at my business. What do I want to be known for in my business? Down to the core, what do I want to be known for? So for example, I want to be known for, when people look at Allison and go to my Instagram account, go to my website, or listen to my podcast, I want them to go, okay, she's all about personal branding. She's all about Instagram growth and marketing. She's all about business motivation. Oh, and she's also about content creation and planning. Those are my pillars to my business, my foundational content pillars. So anything that I create, if I'm creating Instagram stories or Instagram posts, if I'm creating content for my podcast, if I'm going to put together a new freebie, or if I'm going to put together a new blog post for my website, I always make sure whatever I'm putting out there into the world and what I'm talking about, it goes right back to one of those core content pillars. And I would say have anywhere between like 3 to 5 is like a good sweet spot. And some people can only start with 2, and that's totally okay. As you experience your business and as you work and start getting feedback from your audience, you may find yourself developing a new content pillar that you want to be known for. But you have to really understand those fundamental content pillars that you're going to put out there in the world, because again, that's how you're going to grow. That's how you're going to become recognizable and memorable. And the last C to that is consistency. And I know this is such a trigger word in the online space. Most entrepreneurs hear the word consistency and they probably roll their eyes because they're sick and tired of hearing the word be consistent. But here's the good news. You get to decide what that consistency is. But you have to show up consistent in your business, and you have to consistently put your business out there. You have to market it if you want to grow in the long run. So I hope those 3 C's kind of help your audience just kind of go back and just kind of dissect it and just follow those 3 steps. And then that's where the growth will happen.
So did these steps come out of some mistakes that you had made, or where did they come from?
Yeah, it was just coming from how can I really go back and teach people how to use Instagram? Because what I was finding is a lot of entrepreneurs were coming to me and starting with the question, what should I post? And after working with them, we kept working on the same thing. There was a consistency in working with them. And I noticed we're always going back to their clarity, because they didn't have clarity on their brand. They didn't have the right kind of content. They were just talking about anything and everything under the rainbow, and it was confusing their audience. And then I noticed that they weren't showing up consistently because they were feeling so much pressure from other entrepreneurs or watching what other people were doing. And they felt overwhelmed. Like, well, I can't show up 7 days a week and do 5 posts and do 4 reels and then be in my stories. Like, they were feeling so overwhelmed. So once we went through that clarity work on the 3 C's, then it was like a breath of fresh air. And then they were able to implement and continue to grow.
Right on. So now, I think that probably takes care of the first topic we're going to talk about, which is practice makes progress. So is that, is there anything to add to that, I guess?
Yeah, no, really, and like you said, practice makes perfect. So it is getting that clarity. It is really defining what those content pillars are for you and your business, and then implementing and getting consistent. And are there going to be hiccups in the road? Absolutely. Are you going to find that you implement a certain way and you find yourself being consistent and then you notice a part of it drops off? Yeah, of course. I find that in my business too. It's just always going back to the 3 C's when you feel stuck, and getting, that reignite your passion, because we always go back to, why are you doing this in the first place? Why are you doing this? Reignite that passion and then start implementing again. And practice makes perfect, like you said. Absolutely.
So then let's take a step into how you stay, I guess, motivated to do what it is that you need to do. Like, so, do you have sort of like routines or rituals, or like how do you keep going? Like, especially with the consistency part, right? Because the
Yeah.
consistency part is the hardest one. Because I mean, you're not necessarily always feeling creative, or
Right.
are you? Like,
No.
and when you're not, what do you do? How do you handle that?
Well, I think you have to acknowledge, if you're ever in a state of not being creative, acknowledge that and accept it and give yourself grace, because like you said, I mean, I'm a creative entrepreneur. That doesn't mean I'm creative every day, or I'm a positive person and I like to inspire people. But guess what? There might be days where I really don't want to show up in my Instagram stories because I'm not feeling it. Then give yourself grace and give yourself space to just be you. It's okay if you're not going to show up. But for me, how I kind of like, I guess people say get all the things done, which I don't like that term, all the things. I don't know. It's just kind of it's just one of those things I don't like to say, because I don't think you have to do all the things to be successful. You just have to find what you're great at.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, what really helped me, I guess, move the needle is what you're asking, is I really had to sit down and do a brain dump of everything that I do in my business and what is necessary that I need to do each week to keep the needle moving. Because I don't want to create content every day. I don't want to record a podcast every day, or I don't want to do interviews every day. So what I did is I brain dumped everything that I do and what's necessary, and I put them in categories. So I have, for me, like Monday is my CEO hack kind of day. Mondays is for me to get motivated for the week. I'm going to journal. I'm going to brain dump new projects I want to do. I might do a little bookkeeping work. That's my Monday. Whatever I don't get done on Monday, guess what? It's going to wait till next week. Like, that's just how it is. We have to set those boundaries and priorities. You can't just keep working on something and then realize days later, you're like, oh, wait, I need to do this. I need to do that. So that's what worked for me, is I categorize my day. So Monday is like CEO day. I think Tuesday is like my email marketing Pinterest day. Wednesdays is my podcast day. That is the only day that I record and edit podcasts. And I'm super focused because I know that's what's on my agenda. Thursdays is all my one-on-one client work day. And then Fridays, my content creation day. So all the content I create for the following week is all done on Fridays, and I'm laser focused. But then I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the week. So that's what's awesome about it.
Love it. That's okay. That is great. Gold there. So, and then of course, because you've got them all set up on days, once you get into the role, it's sort of like, it's all like, you don't have to keep on switching tasks from one thing to another, which I find you lose a lot of time when you're going from like a creative task to like answering emails and then back to the creative task. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And here's the funny thing, because I was spending way too much time doing all the things. Once I categorized everything and assigned it to a particular day, then on that day, these are my objectives for the day. I don't have to worry about everything else in my business. My brain doesn't need to be, having all these open tabs like a computer. And then the funny thing is Tim, I am now a homeschool mom, and this is my first year homeschooling my 8th grader. So that really, now I really got to look at my day. So now I homeschool in the morning. I still stick to that schedule, but now I am so laser focused in the afternoon. I am working from 1 to 4. I am able to get everything done in those 3 hours, but I prioritize it. I set boundaries. My kids know not to disrupt me. My phone is on do not disturb and silent. There is no accepting phone calls in that time period. I get so much more done in less time. Yeah. And that's really the cool thing.
Yeah, well, and that seems to be something I've noticed too. The busier you are, the more you get done. When you've got only a couple things to do in the day, procrastinate. You might not even get them done. If you have a whole list, you end up getting a lot more done.
Yeah. When you say, I'll do that tomorrow, it's not going to get done. Mm-hmm. You need to assign it to a day and a time period, and you need to shut out all other distractions, and then you'll get it done.
Love it. Okay. So now, I love that. Now we've got people, focused, they're getting their work done and all that stuff. Now, you've got a product or a service or something that you've got out there to offer. How do you get fans? How do you get people to look at what you've got?
So I love working in threes. So this is not going to surprise you, because I went over the 3 C's to business growth. Now I'm going to talk about the 3 V's to an online marketing strategy. And because there's so much out there, right? There's so many things that we can be doing. So what do we do? How do we market our business? How do we get fans? How do we build the know, like, and trust? And even though I talk about the 3 V's on Instagram, you can apply this to any social media platform, or you can be doing it to your email marketing, YouTube channel, your podcast, whatever it is. But the 3 V's, the first V is variety, right? We can't just stick with one thing. You can't just stick with email marketing and expect to grow, because open rates, they're not there, right? A lot of people are getting thrown to their spam folders. So how you show up online to market your business, you need to have a variety of different ways you're going to do it. Where are you going to put your long form content? Is it going to be a podcast? Are you going to write blog posts? Are you going to show up on video and do YouTube videos? Like, where is your long form content going to be? And then the next V to that is video. And I know a lot of people just cringe when they hear video. They don't want to show up on video, but video is where it's at. And video is the quickest way to build the know, like, and trust factor. And honestly, the easiest way to get started with video, so easy, is get in your Instagram stories and just create a boomerang of your face and behind the scenes of what you're doing, because it's gone in 24 hours. That is the easiest way to start getting comfortable putting your face out there. Start with Instagram stories. Then maybe you'll do a live, and then get into IGTV, then get into your Facebook groups, and maybe make your own GIF or meme of you, just showing a behind the scenes, and throw it in your email marketing. Video is where it's at. If you're not doing video, you're really going to have a hard time getting the growth and the momentum that you want in your business. Now, do you have to do video every day? No. Do you have to do video every single week? No. But should you do video once or twice a month? Yeah. And that's really going to help get the momentum and the visibility too. Yeah. Do you agree with video on that, even though we're both podcasters? But
well, yeah. The thing is that before computers, you had to actually go and talk to people and be face to face. And that's the thing. You can't really build a relationship with somebody through a text message.
Absolutely.
They don't see tone. They don't see,
right.
They don't get to know you. And so, that's the thing, is that we live in this amazing age now where we actually can just still sit at home and just turn a camera on and go onto a Zoom call. So, absolutely video as much as possible. Like not only with what you just said about your marketing, but also, why not do all your sales calls in video? Why not take everything that you can possibly do on video, do it on video? And for me with the podcast, podcast software is mostly in audio, so it goes in audio. However, I do record all the videos and I do release them later. So, it's one of those things where the video is definitely key. So I'm totally on board with that. As much video as possible. People are not going to get to know you unless you do that.
Yeah. And I think too, people are afraid to do video, but here's the thing, video humanizes you.
Yeah.
And in this digital space, people want to do business with people. People don't want to do business with the logo or a brand or a pretty photo, or, they are going to do business with someone that they feel that they can relate to. And the best way to do that is through video. And if people are like, well, I'm afraid I'm going to some people aren't going to like me or not like the way I show up on video. Well, then guess what? They're not for you, because you're not designed to please everybody.
Well, and I mean, when you think about it, like, let's just take it to, imagine you're someone who's listening to this podcast, and have you ever done business with somebody who had a hair out of place?
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes, you probably have.
Exactly.
So what's the big deal? You got a hair out of the place,
Right.
I mean,
right.
Get on the video, because really the bottom line is that people do, like you say, want to do business with real people. And the more real you are, I mean, I'm not saying, purposefully go out there and look terrible, but you don't have to be perfect every time you show up on video. I know I don't.
Yeah.
I wear my t-shirts and I
yeah, exactly. Here I am showing up in a low-key t-shirt. I'm not in a business suit. No way. My website's Boss Lady in Sweatpants. Like, hello, I'm going to show up as my most authentic way. Video helps you create your authentic voice. Like, that's what it does. So yeah.
Yeah. And there are going to be people that are going to want to do business only with people in suits. That's great. But if that's not you, why are you wearing a suit and attracting people that don't even want to do business with you?
Exactly. And there you go. You're being like Loki.
Yeah.
You're trying to mimic or transform how you look so you can attract certain people that you probably don't even want to do business with in the first place.
Yeah.
So why are you doing that? Like, why are you manipulating your audience? So yeah. So don't be like Loki.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, I think the video is the quickest way to show your authentic self, and the faster you can, that's the thing about, social media nowadays. You can lead with video. It's not even that you're leading with some text and then eventually you get them to a video. You can lead with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And then with that video, what you can do is the final V is value. I think a lot of people forget that you have to continually provide value. I know we're all trying to build a business, right? We want to work from home and make money, right? So we can build that world of financial freedom or time freedom, whatever your goals are.
Mm-hmm.
But to get there, to make that sale, we have to give our audience value after value after value after value. And a lot of people are like, I'm afraid to give away too much. Don't ever be afraid of that. Give it all away, because here's the thing, not one single person consumes every piece of content you put out there. They're always going to be missing a little something from you. So they're going to come back for more and want to work with you. But I would prefer to work with someone who is teaching me everything. I relate to them. They entertain me and they give me so much value, but they're not pitching me their services or their products all the time. I'm going to go back to that person when I'm ready to invest. And I really think that's key, is give value as often as you can, and give more value than when you compare to pitching your products and services.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, that's the thing, is that the people that are going to be the do-it-yourselfers are probably not going to hire you anyway. But they will give you traffic. They will continue to probably even refer you, right? So,
yes.
So I mean, those people are great to have, to be continually giving value to, because really what you're looking for is you're looking for the person who is too busy in their own business to be dealing with the stuff that you provide. They want to hire you to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's another way to look at your fans. Not only are you trying to market your business to get potential customers, right? But let's not forget about those fans who continually just watch you and they don't buy from you. But like you said, they can certainly turn into a referral for you, or they can also turn into a collaboration. And collaborations are great in your business too. So don't ever think like, well, this person is similar to my niche, maybe I shouldn't be associated with them, they might steal my business. No, don't ever think that. I mean, you guys could collaborate on a great project together, and that can just open up a whole other, more opportunities for you in the long run.
Yep, absolutely. So let's talk about the instruments of success. So now tell me about some tools that you use to get success in your business.
So the biggest tool of success, and I kind of talked about it earlier when I was prioritizing my day, but what I use for myself each and every day, and I can't live without it, is number one is my planner. I'm so old school. I have to write everything down. But on top of that, I use Google Docs, Google spreadsheets like crazy. And I've created everything on my own. But how I take that to the next level is I make sure that I have the Google Drive app on my phone. So anything that I create in my Google spreadsheets or Word docs, I have access to it on my phone. So I never feel kind of like, oh, what do I need to do today? Or what should I be doing next? I know that there's a lot of other apps out there that help you kind of plan, but I'm just not into them. There's something about me like creating my own like workflow, and I put my workflow into Google and have the Google Drive on my phone. And that has really just been the best thing for me. And then the other thing too, tools for success is, I don't know if it's really a tool. I think it's more of, well, it is a tool. You have to establish boundaries, because working from home is awesome, but it can also be like that double-edged sword, because you love your business. You think about your business 24/7. You wake up in the middle of the night with ideas. But if we don't establish boundaries of when we work or when we answer emails or when we work with clients, you're not going to enjoy it anymore. Like last night, I was watching Stranger Things with my kids, and my phone was upstairs in the kitchen, and I heard the ping of Voxer, because I have Voxer with my clients. And I knew it was one of my clients Voxering me at 8 o'clock at night. A part of me really wanted to run up there and be like, is there a problem? Does she need help? Does she need an answer? And then I had to stop myself and be like, wait a minute. I am creating this business so I can work from home, be a homeschool mom, and be present with my kids. Go back to your purpose and why. And I had to stop and be like, no, I am enjoying Stranger Things, because I will get back to her in the morning when my, so-called time slot is to work with clients, because whatever she needs help with on Instagram, it's not going to fizzle overnight. Her business isn't going to go down the tubes. It is not a life-threatening moment. We have to realize that going from corporate, being 9 to 5, you went to work and you left and you never thought about it, right? We have to have that at home as much as we can. We have to establish those boundaries if you want to not only be successful, whatever success that is for you to determine what success is, and for you to be happy. Like, you have to love and truly be happy serving your community and your business.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you know what? We say that, and I've been self-employed for a long time now, but that is number one. The hardest part about working for yourself is leaving the phone alone at night or when you're scheduled off.
It's so really hard. Really hard. Yeah. You know what? I always recommend starting with one tiny chunk of time. So if it's really hard for you in the evening, then hide your phone for an hour. Start with an hour. And then after a few weeks, work up to 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then eventually you'll be like me, and you're just going to toss the phone in the corner of the room after dinner. And then I'm not going to touch it till the next morning. Like, I'm getting so much better at that, but it's hard.
Oh yeah. You hear the beep. I didn't put it on silent.
Yeah. And you know what? Turn off notifications, especially for your social media platforms.
Oh yeah.
There is nothing that needs to take away from your family and your business than a Facebook or an Instagram or a LinkedIn notification that someone liked or someone commented. Turn it off, because it will just, it drains your energy.
Yeah,
it really does. And you need energy for your business. You need energy for your family. So where are you going to put that energy? You're going to put the energy into what you need to do that day, or are you going to put energy into who's talking to you on Instagram? Like,
yep. Well, the mind trick that I've used to stop myself from answering things, which, like I say, is still really hard. But the mind trick that I use is, imagine you have 2 clients, and these 2 clients both have a fire at the same time, and you have to only handle one of these fires, because the other one you split yourself in 2. Well, what would happen to that other client while you're working on the first client? They're going to have to wait. So what if right now you spending time with your family is the fire? And you're actually spending time, that's an important thing that you need to do. And you'll get to the other fire, don't worry. But the reality of it is that there's probably no fire. and you're probably running to the phone for something that could be handled in the morning. But really, it's one of those things where if you set the precedent of, I'm going to answer the phone whenever the phone rings, then one of these days there will be a fire that you're handling. That client's going to need you and you're not going to be there for them. And you've set the precedent where they're expecting you to be there, and it's going to be the end of the world.
Right.
So you might as well set that that boundary right away, right?
Yeah, I love that. I love that analogy of your first client is actually your family. I love that thought process. That's really good.
Thanks. Well, it's time for your guest solo now then. So tell me what's exciting in your business.
So right now I'm doing some Instagram coaching, some group coaching, which is really exciting. And I love doing it, but we are mid-October right now. And I'm actually going to start putting together an Insta Academy community. So it's a little bit of a DIY course, kind of incorporated with some group coaching and a Facebook community. So that is on the works right now. I'm sure more details will come about as we get closer to the end of the year. But, I just love just connecting and serving with entrepreneurs and just helping them just get that clarity of how they can show up in their business and show up online for their audience.
Awesome. So how do we find out more about you and your business?
Well, I'm always on Instagram, even though I try to limit my time as best I can, right? We got to stick to those boundaries, but you can find me at Allison Scholes, or the best place to find all of my resources or my podcast is bossladyinsweatpants.com.
Awesome. Just not at 8:00 at night, right?
Yeah, that's right. Because I probably won't answer.
Well, thank you so much for rocking out with me today, Allison. This has been really cool.
Oh, thank you again.
To the listeners, make sure you subscribe, rate, and comment, and we'll see you next time on the Work at Home Rockstar podcast.